All right, hello, welcome everybody to the webinar. Thank you for taking the time to join me here today and out of your busy schedule. And I promise I'm going to work hard today to help you have great insight into what you can do to level up your practices marketing here in 2025. If you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. I'll be happy to answer those as we go along. And yeah, if there's any Q&A too, you can throw that in there and we'll get to that also. So let's dive in here because we got a lot to cover here. And again, my goal for you from this 2025 marketing plan is to help you increase your patient volume, show you how you can hire top talent in a different way, and how you can profit more in your practice. So today, what we're going to be covering is how you can be more discoverable online to qualified patients in your community, how to get more patients scheduling with you as they interact with you online. How can we get them to take more action by coming to your clinic? And so that's going to help you also look at how you can lower your customer acquisition costs. So how can you get more patients in for less cost, especially in today's healthcare economy? And then what you can do to improve patient retention, how you can get more patient referrals, and how you can get more reactivated patients coming back for care. And then also how you can leverage marketing to attract clinicians, front desk, and more staff in this ultra competitive healthcare marketplace. So just giving you a sneak peek here so you can stay tuned on what is working right now for the top 10% of high performing practices across the US and Canada. One of the things that we do here at Practice Promotions is we gather a lot of data from all of our clients all over the US and Canada. And so we bring that information to our clients and also to you, and we can show you what the top 10% of those high performing practices are doing. And also show you what you need to focus on in 2025 so you can increase your marketing results by 50% or more with some of these strategies. And also show you a brand new way to leverage Google to beat out Indeed and make it easier to recruit staff. In fact, one of our clients with this strategy hired 17 employees here in 2 months. So very cool to see this new way of marketing for hiring. But let's face it, we all know that it's a toughening healthcare system. You know, there's more challenges than ever before in private practice. It really is an ultra competitive landscape for new patients, not just within, say, the rehabilitation industry and sphere, but how those patients are being approached from all kinds of other solutions out there, from medical solutions to online health kind of solutions and nutrients and all kinds of stuff like that. And let's face it, COVID changed the game for hiring PTs and staff. You know, it's a fight for talent. More than 10,000 PTs left the profession around the COVID. And so it's been left a void, and there's less talent out there for the amount of demand that's always increasing. And staff want more pay, but what we find is that reimbursement is flat or declining. So how do we help pay our staff what they want to do? And how do we shift the model of our practice through marketing to bring people in and increase our revenues? And then there's also more competitors, right? It's a busier marketplace out there. It's a very noisy place online these days. And there's also bigger groups out there and other healthcare systems that with bigger marketing budgets than you have in your private practice. And so how do you compete against this? And I'll show you some ways here today that give you an edge in marketing your practice and getting in front of people, making you the premier solution. And despite this toughening healthcare economy, we work with practices that actually have had their best year ever here in 2024, and they're looking to smash it in 2025. And to me, that just proves if you have great marketing systems in your practice, you can overcome a lot of challenges. And those practices have become the premier go-to clinic in their community. They've really built their brand up. They've increased their average dollar revenue per patient, so they're making more money, they're more efficient, they're more profitable, and they've actually had to hire more therapists to keep up with the demand, right, with the number of new patients that they're getting in. And through that, they've had more revenue and nice take-home profits, helping them fulfill the life that they want to do, serve the people that they want to serve, and have opportunities for their families. So really, what's the secret to all this, right? We can talk a lot of hype, but what's really the underlying secret to this? Well, it's really, if you look at it from afar, how did these clinics get to where they are? The key to that growth is really leveling up processes within the clinic. So it's leveling up all kinds of things from how you deliver care, your billing systems, all kinds of stuff, but especially your marketing systems and processes. And this is where I find a lot of practice owners get stuck is they put so much focus on how are we documenting, how are we billing, what kind of systems are we building for the front desk and all this other administrative and delivery of care, but they don't put enough effort into leveling up their marketing systems and processes. And so it doesn't fuel the growth of the clinic like they want it to. So that really is the key is how can you level up your marketing systems and processes here for 2025? Because realize that what gets you to this point, what got you here, it won't necessarily get you to where you want to go. You have to adapt, you have to change your systems and your processes in your clinic to take you to that next level. First off, let's talk about this, right? This is something that you need to know as a practice owner and something for you to be monitoring in your practice because it really does affect the profitability of your practice, and that is your customer acquisition cost. What does it cost you to get a patient into your practice? And so this is pretty simple. What you got to do is take all your marketing costs, advertising, things that you may print. Don't forget salaries that are included in this. For example, if you have, pay a tech part-time to do some of your marketing activities, well, part of that should go into this cost. If you have a marketing director in your clinic, that should definitely be in this cost too. So any kind of advertising costs, marketing costs, website costs, SEO costs, and then salaries for marketing people that's in there. And then just divide that by the number of new patients in that particular month. So marketing costs for the month divided by number of new patients. And if you are below $100, you're doing okay, right? But the lower your customer acquisition cost, the more money you will make in your practice and the more money you will take home from your practice. And so it's a really good thing to know your customer acquisition cost and work towards what can you do to lower that cost. So let's look at some examples here. So in the blue bars here, I'm looking at, again, my marketing spend for the month, including salaries, and I divide that by the number of new patients, and that gives me my customer acquisition cost. So let's take an example here. Let's say as a practice, I spend $5,000 a month on my marketing along with my marketing director, right? And for that, I generate 50 new patients in that month. That will give me $100 customer acquisition cost, right? So if that makes sense to you, just type yes in the chat. Cool. All right. So now, if I spend the same exact amount, however, I make my marketing systems better at getting me new patients, and I can now generate 100 new patients, that lowers my customer acquisition cost to 50. Now that makes sense, right? So we all want that where we're spending the same amount of money and generating more new patients for that. That helps us lower our customer acquisition cost. And really it comes down to this. The better your marketing systems, the lower your customer acquisition cost is going to be. So it's something you want to pay attention to. It does make a big difference in how your practice grows. Here's just an example from a client. You can see here that they're averaging about just over $14, right? For their, this is actually a lead cost. So customer acquisition cost probably a touch more than this, but maybe like 25 bucks, 30 bucks. So significant improvement there by having good marketing systems, the tracking of those systems, and you can really lower your customer acquisition cost for that. But customer acquisition cost is just a piece of the puzzle, right? And so here's where it can get a little tricky, right? You can get into the mindset of like, hey, let me cut back on my marketing. That's going to help me lower my cost. Well, here, let me show you how that works. So we're again coming back to our customer acquisition cost here. We have our marketing spend divided by our number of new patients, and this is our customer acquisition cost. So this scenario, let's say we spend $2,500 a month on our marketing and we generate 50 new patients for that. And that gives us a $50 customer acquisition cost. Now, let's say I improve my marketing and I want to put some advertising, say toward Google ads or social media ads, whatever it may be, and I can generate 100 new patients for $2,500 more per month that I spend, right? I just doubled the number of new patients in there. Look at this. It's the same customer acquisition cost. So if you just focus on customer acquisition cost here, you might think, hey, I'm doing fantastic. But the reality is here, let's just assume that a patient comes in for, let's say an average of 10 to 12 visits, maybe get $80 to $90 a visit. Let's just call it $1,000 a case, right? As an average. Now, in this scenario here, where we're spending $2,500 a month and we're getting 50 new patients out of it, we're generating $50,000 per month as a case, right? As a potential there. Now, if I spend a touch more on my marketing budget, but I'm able to double the number of new patients, I now increased that revenue to $100,000 per month. So what you can see here is that you have to look at customer acquisition costs, but your budget generates revenue. So in this scenario, we were able to generate an additional $600,000 more per year, the difference of these two, right? For just $30,000 more of spend. That's a 20-to-1 return on your marketing spend. And so that's what can happen when you have better marketing systems. You might need to put a little bit more money towards those marketing systems to level it up for 2025, but you should be able to significantly increase your number of new patients, and that means much better revenue coming in for the practice. And so what we find is that most clinics really do underspend in marketing, and so from that they don't hit their full potential. And what you need to understand is, from a business practice, growth really comes when you have about 5 to 8% of your marketing budget as a percent of revenue. So for example, if you bring in 100% of revenue, you should be putting at least 5% of that towards generating more patients in the door, right? And that's your marketing. And it just depends on how aggressive you want to be. If you want to really go big and dial it up for 2025, let's say you're launching some new clinics, clinic locations, then you probably want to squeak that marketing budget up a little bit higher, right? If you're pretty busy, but you've got some growth to happen within the clinic itself, then maybe 5% is a good spend for you there. But one tendency that we have going into 2025, if there's cuts in reimbursement, we start to look at where we can cut, right? And what we don't realize is that if we're cutting back on marketing, we're choking the revenue into the business. We should be doing the opposite, which is investing more in our marketing to dial up the number of patients coming in so we can be highly efficient. And I'll also show you here how we can look at increasing our profitability. Just a little bit about me. I'm Neil Trickett. I'm a licensed physical therapist. I owned and built a 7-figure PT practice with my beautiful wife, Amy here, who's also a PT. We exited that practice in 2010, and then we formed Practice Promotions. And over the last 14 years, I've been a practice marketing expert, helping clinics scale up their business through effective marketing. And so I've been the founder and CEO of Practice Promotions, which we are now a multi-7-figure agency. We're specific for the PT, rehabilitation, and multidiscipline practices. And so we help practices everything from a single location to our largest client is a 130 plus location practice that we help support their marketing team. Right now at Practice Promotions, we're supporting over 1,200 clinic locations across the US and Canada. So we have a lot of great experience working with some awesome clinics out there that are doing great things in their community. And we are the largest physical therapy, rehabilitation, and multidisciplinary marketing agency in North America, with I think now like over 90 staff that we do have to help from all kinds of specialists in the marketing sphere. So today in this webinar here, this is really for those growth-minded practice owners and marketing directors that are serious about reaching their practice's potential, those growing practices that are looking to grow to multiple 7 or even 8 figures, and practice owners and marketing directors looking to bring an integrated approach to their digital marketing. So let's dive into this, right? And what you can find here is, with that right marketing strategy, you can have a strategy that works to bring in predictable, higher paying patients and revenue. You can lessen or even stop roller coastering of new patients, where, those weeks where you have, lots of new patients in one week and then you wonder where they all went the week after that. That's called roller coastering. So you can really lessen or even eliminate that with good marketing strategy. And the bottom line is keeping your therapist full and efficient. Let's face it, we're a service-based industry, and we need to make sure that our therapists are treating patients and that their schedule is nice and full. That means that they're making money, they're happy, and the clinic's doing better. And you can, with the right marketing strategy, you can understand what marketing actions are working so you can strengthen them. And time again, I see a lot of clinic owners that get frustrated because they just don't know what's working. And when things are good, they're good, but when they're bad, they're wondering what's happening. And also with the right marketing strategy, you can build your brand to outshine those big boys and corporate healthcare systems and put your clinic on the map better. And here's a cool thing too, with the right marketing strategy, you can attract top talent to work for you and expand your empire. But here are some common practice marketing traps that I see time and time again that practice owners make. They try to do it all themselves, right? So if you're trying to do it all yourself, what happens is you become the bottleneck to growth. You can't be a practice owner, a clinician, a marketing specialist, a billing specialist. You have to know these things as an owner, but you can't do it all yourself and expect to grow the practice. Another thing too here from a common practice marketing trap is that you waste money on unnecessary marketing advertising because you're not an expert. You're not an expert in Google, Facebook, coding, design, data tracking. Like you shouldn't be, right? You're the practice owner. You got a clinic to grow, so you need help with that. And often, your website might look okay, but you really have no idea how well it converts people that are coming to it into new patients. And so that's time and time again, I talk to people, they have no idea how many new patients actually come through their website. And then also, you've built your business on referrals, right? So you've done a great job. People love you. You should have great word of mouth. That's an awesome thing to have. But if you just continue to rely solely on word of mouth referrals, there's only so much growth you can achieve with that. And so what happens is you feel you don't need to spend money on marketing because you're doing pretty good with your word of mouth referrals, but you could go a heck of a lot further. And what we find is that clients of ours that have great word of mouth have amazing marketing results. And here's another thing is that a lot of times, especially in our industry, you think that if I work with a local website company or SEO company or marketing company, I just need some help with my website or my SEO. Like they are going to know better because they're in my area. But the problem is that they're also working with plumbers and HVAC people and things like that. They don't know your audience that well, right? Not like someone who really just specializes in that area and knows how to market. So again, you want to work with vendors and people that know your practice, that know your audience, that know how to speak the rehabilitation language. So let's get planning here. And we're going to talk about marketing strategies that will power your growth in 2025. And so we're going to talk about the market to grow strategy here, where we have market to grow, market to hire, market to profit. And we're going to break this down here today and how you can implement this in your practice. So first off, let's get into the market to grow strategy. So how can we get more new patients? How can we grow our business here? First off, we want to focus on this, which is our prospect to patient conversion. And we have to realize that our website is really the hub of a lot of our marketing. And so we need to be able to fix our website leaks, and that's going to help us double our website conversion rates. So we'll talk about this here in a little bit, but it's really important to look at how can we get more people that are interacting with our website to become patients in the door. Then we need to be more discovered online, right? And this is where we want to dominate Google searches out there and drive more people to our website so we can have more new patients coming in on autopilot. Then we want to be able to do more patient marketing, right? So we need to be able to mine our customer list for opportunities to increase retention, referrals, and reactivations. If you look at those amazing brands that have grown like Starbucks, they have amazingly loyal fans. If you realize it, that the average Starbucks consumer, their lifetime value is $14,000. That's pretty amazing, right? So there's a lot of power, there's a lot of revenue, there's a lot of help that you can provide within your patient list. Are you marketing effectively to your patient list? And we'll talk about that here today. So first off, I want you to think about making your website the hub of your marketing. And so let's just look at an example here. This is a clinic called Pacific Pro here in California. We just went through a redevelopment of their website, and they're just amazing to work with because they do such a great job of having content, video. They really show what it's like coming into the clinic. And this is what you can do for your practice is really level up what it looks like to be coming to your clinic. Think about that from a patient's point of view. And so when they come to your website, you want to have this really professional look, but yet very personalized look. You want to show the personal side of coming to you and what it's like to be at your practice, right? This really attracts patients in a great way. Um, and so this is a 13 location practice and growing. Now, one of the key things here too, as you get into locations is these locations are what are actually going to show up in searches a lot of times in the specific area. So when they come to a location page, if you are a multi-location practice, you want to have very robust location pages because this is going to be the first thing that people see a lot of times when they click on you from your Google business profile or something like that. The other thing that we want to look at is really expanding your specialty and service pages. Right? We want to be able to talk a lot to what you do, and we want to be able to show people here what you can help them with. And another thing from a searchability standpoint is that these pages are actually going to rank themselves. So you want to have lots of deep pages on, say, back pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, knee pain, all those kind of things, because this is what people are going to find online and they're going to come to these pages specifically. And so we can talk specifically to them about their symptoms and their specific pain and problem. They're going to really start to connect with you. And we call this patient-centric marketing as also condition-based marketing. So you really want to do that. Now, the other thing here, we'll show you, we'll get into a little bit deeper with this, but having content within your website, making it that hub of marketing. So having things like your blog that's being done through here that can be sent out via email and social media, newsletters that can be done through your website, again, sent out via email and social media. We're bringing everybody back to your website on a consistent basis. And so you can imagine as patients come back in here, they're going to interact. They're much more likely to request that appointment and get started with you again. And so having your website dialed in a specific way that's really going to capture attention, excite people, and then get them to take action is huge. And that's what increases conversions. All right, so let's dive into this prospect to patient conversion strategy here. So what your website should do is it should convert a high percentage of prospects to patients wanting to schedule appointments. That's one of its primary jobs. It should also increase your rankings in Google and be more discoverable in online searches for service and condition search like neck pain, back pain, what can I do to help my knee? I just sprained my ankle, what should I do? All those searches are happening all day long and people don't even think about going to PT, right? They haven't even maybe even been to PT before, right? But they're going to go on Google and do a search. And what if you came up in front of them for those type of searches and now they find you? Boom, you're going to really increase the number of people that are coming in from online. Your website should also be the content machine at the center of your patient marketing. And it should be the center of your recruiting efforts to convert more prospects to applicants. And we'll talk about that here a little bit later. So here's why website conversions matter. And so this is why you should really be paying close attention to what is your website doing? How is it performing? Because you need to fix your leaky website first before you're going to spend more money on Facebook ads, Google ads, whatever you're going to do. Before you're throwing more money at it, you need to fix your website. It's like having a leaky bucket. So here's why it matters, right? So more conversions means more new patients at less cost per patient. So let's take a look at this. So let's say my website on an industry standard converts 2% of people or less. Now, let's say that is 20 new patients for me that come through my website each month. Now, you should be able to track that, and a lot of times people are not. They might not have the right systems in place, but again, this is why it's important to measure this. But let's say 20 new patients come right through my website each month, and gives me a 2% conversion, right? About 1,000 people, let's say 1,000 people are coming to your website, 2% of them convert, that's 20 new patients. Now, if I just increase that by 2%, right? 2% conversion, I double my number of new patients. What do you think that would do to your bottom line in your clinic if your website was better at converting the people that came into it into actual wanting requested appointments with you? You could significantly increase the new patients into your practice without having to spend a ton of money on advertising. So what we find is that most websites that we see out there convert about 1 to 2%. And practice promotions websites average 8.3%. That's pretty amazing, right? And so if you can have a correctly built website that focuses on conversions, not just aesthetics, you can significantly increase the volume of new patients into your practice. And so this is what you should be focusing on as you go into 2025. Now, the next step here in our market to grow strategy is to look at how can we be more discovered online? So online discoverability. And so you need to look at how people are finding you online and how you're coming up in searches, because people trust a practice that ranks high on Google, but also has multiple spots on that first page of Google in that particular search. And you just have to realize that there's thousands of people in your community that are searching on Google right now for help with their pain or problem. And you just need to focus on how can I get in front of more people online that are already doing these searches. And that can be done through SEO, but also a lot of clinics are not taking advantage of doing Google ads to target specific areas or zip codes in their community to show up in the search results at the top of Google. So the top of Google is all paid and you have to pay to play. And so you might have tried it yourself, got burned, didn't do very well. It's complicated. You need specialists to get good results for it. But you need to be doing Google ads. It can significantly increase your ability to get new patients into the clinic. And then you need to be working on your website and local SEO. Doing that can make a significant impact on your ability to get in front of prospects. And so we can take a look at this client over here. You can see when they started, right, they had about 3,500 people visiting their websites a month. And over the course of about a year, they were able to increase that to about 10,500 people visiting their website a month. So can you imagine 7,000 more people finding your website per month? What is that going to do to your bottom line in your clinic? So focusing on how your practice can be more discoverable online is a critical thing in your marketing strategy for 2025. So the key question is your clinic found online? And really the goal here is to own as many spots on page 1 of Google as possible. And it's a little small here, but you probably can't see it, but this clinic is showing up here in the ads. They're also showing up here in the ads in the map section. They're also showing up here in the map section, and they're also showing up here in the top 10. So they've got 4 spots on page 1 of Google. Now, if you're a patient, who are you more likely to choose? Right? It's going to be the clinic that's all over page 1 of Google. So that's why you want to be leveraging as much of these tools as possible, because what we'll find is that when people search for, say, physical therapist near me, or back pain or shoulder pain relief, these types of searches, about 46% of those clicks are going to go in that ad section, which is again why you should be doing ads. And then 54% are going to happen in this local section and organic section. So we want to command as many spots on page 1 of Google as possible. So you need to be in your marketing strategy focusing on how can I expand my SEO and how can I expand Google ads so that I can compete for those top spots and most patients. Because guess what? The big clinics are doing this and you need to be able to compete with the big clinics. And that's the beauty of the way the online world works here, is that you can actually compete with those big competitors in your area. So with a Google Ads strategy here, what you need to be focusing on, and what we focus on here at Practice Promotions, is target the right audience around your clinics through regions and radiuses. You can actually, it's the nice thing with ads is you can target by zip code or 5-mile radius or 10-mile radius, or maybe this town over here, wherever you want to show up, you can actually pay to show up in those areas. And then this is also going to help get your practice to the top of Google and attract new patients with compelling ads for a lot low cost per lead, right? And so that's the beauty of ads, is if they're dialed in right and they're monitored right and they're tested right, you can really get an amazing cost per lead. Ours is typically like $30, $35, right? So very, very inexpensive there to get someone in the door. But to make this work effectively, you have to have good systems that track, measure, and constantly improve results. So that's when we're talking about online discoverability. So talk about prospect to patient conversions, online discoverability. Now let's talk about how you should raise your recurring revenue, right? So there's 2 things. There's recurring revenue and there's recurring revenue. Recurring revenue is like a subscription that you're on, like a Netflix subscription, right? Every month you're paying. A recurring revenue is like a new sale, right? So think about a patient who came in for a plan of care and then they're going to come back, let's say a year later, right? That's a recurring revenue to you because they're already in your system. So we want to look at the lifetime value of a patient. What does it mean to have a patient in your practice, and what's the lifetime value of that patient? And so what we look at here is the reimbursement that you get per visit, multiplied by the number of visits on average you get per case, multiplied by the lifetime number of cases on average that you get. So let's take a look at this, right? Let's just say I get a patient in and I get paid $85 a visit for them on average. And on average, they come in for 12 visits, right? And they come in one time. That revenue to me as a practice owner is $1,020. And if they never come back, that's what I'll get. Now, if I'm very good about marketing and that patient decides to come back to me and choose me again in the future, let's say they come back 3 times over the course of 3 years, that patient is still the same amount, $85 a visit, $12 a visit case, but now they've come in 3 times to see me, right? Maybe for the same thing, maybe for some different things. The value of that patient just tripled to $3,060. And this is why it is so important to work on recurring revenue in your practice, because the higher your customer lifetime value, the more profitable your practice will be. And this is how businesses and how practices scale. So if you look at really successful businesses out there, again, like Starbucks, they get people coming back over and over and over again, right? And your philosophy should be, I need to be your physical therapist for life. What are you doing to keep that patient as being your physical therapist? Well, you being their physical therapist for life, for example, right? So patient marketing systems, they do help build customer lifetime value because you should deliver great care in the clinic, but your marketing systems get them back. So let's look here at this practice strategy, which is patient marketing systems. And so what can your patient marketing systems be improved in 2025? You need to be looking at value-based marketing. So you got to give value to your patients, right? To get better retention, more reactivations and referrals. So the more you share, the more tips and advice, you brand yourself as the authority, you're going to create a lot of value with your customer list, right? And then you need to be able to ask for patients to come back for care and send their friends and family. So what kind of offers do you have for them there? And then you got to realize that patients need consistent marketing. You got to be able to market to them 2 or 3 times a month. They need to be receiving this, value-based marketing to them on a consistent basis. And that's where I see a lot of practices falter. They might send a birthday card out once a month, or maybe they send an e-newsletter, once a month, or maybe every 3 months or something like that. They just don't put a lot of effort into patient marketing because people come back to them and they think they're doing good, but they could do a whole lot better. And what we find is that practices that put more effort into patient marketing see significant gains in growth. So I want you to think about lifetime value. What can I do to build lifetime value with my patients? So let's think about this with our patient marketing systems. The goal is how can we increase retention? How can we get more patient referrals? How can we get more patient reactivations? And so what you need to look at is in your clinic, you need to have a content strategy for gathering stories, pictures, and video within the clinic. Again, our clients that are really good about getting consistent pictures and video, there's a ton of ammunition you can use in your marketing to send it out there. And that's going to help you elevate your brand, right? And then if you can make it have more professionally designed content also, that really is going to get things to stand out with the community. And then you can use your website as your content hub, and you can then use direct email, social, direct mail, all kinds of things to it. So that's where people can digest it, they can get excited about it, and then it's very easy for them to click the button to make that appointment and come on in. And the goal here when you're doing patient marketing is just to be omnipresent. So you have to think about how can I leverage social media? How can I do better email marketing? Was better website marketing, text marketing, direct mail marketing, all these things here. The goal is to use these different channels to get in front of as many eyeballs as possible in your patient list so that you stay the authority in their mind. Because let's face it, Patients don't really want to come back for care unless they have to. It's time and money for them. So we have to poke and prod them to come back in to take care of their pain or problem that we can help them with. So first off, you want to really professionalize and personalize your social media marketing. And so we find that clinics try to dabble in this. Some clinics do really well. A lot of clinics struggle, right? And it's just they don't have the time to really work on the social media aspect. But we find that clinics that consistently post professional and personalized content, they gain followers, they gain interactivity. They're going to get people coming back in. They're going to get referrals from patients. And so what can you do to level up your organic social media and use professional content designers? What can you do to run schedules so posts are consistent with day and time, right? So there's different solutions and tools out there. What can you do to have more video in the clinic, right? So just an example here is this is a great practice that we work with here, but you can see if you can marry the pictures that you take within the clinic, but then have them designed in a really professional manner, it's going to stand out on social media. It's going to get people to want to interact with you more, to click, to share, to like these posts that are going out there. So that's one of the things that we do here at Practice Promotions is we work with our clients on a content strategy for social media. They take, we tell them what, pictures or video to gather. We get that back and we put it together really professionally to make them look awesome, right? So that's one of the key things there when you're using social media. The other part here is using blogs and patient newsletters within your website. Patients want value in their content. Newsletters and blogs are a great format for this, and you can direct them back to your website. You can focus people on getting back to your website to engage and then reactivate. And we find that practices that are consistent with their content marketing see significant gains in their ability to drive in more new patients. And so here's an example back to our Pacific Pro folks here. This is their monthly newsletter that goes out to their patient list. It gets emailed out, gets posted on social media. People click on it, they come back here, and it's embedded in their website. And it looks really awesome. It's full of great articles in here. It's very personalized and with staff spotlights and things, all kinds of things that you can be putting in your newsletter, but it keeps people really connected with your clinic, right? And sees you as the authority. And then you know what? My shoulder, it's bugging me again. Let me go ahead and request an appointment. Boom. Now they're requesting an appointment, they're back in. So that's why you want to make, again, your website the hub of your patient marketing because you're flowing people back to it and you're getting them to take action. So that's going to help you significantly grow the number of new patients into your clinic. Now let's look at how you can attract more top talent, because one of the problems that we found is that we're getting lots of new patients in for practices and then they're struggling to hire people to keep up with the demand. So we actually found a great solution here, and we'll talk about that, how we're helping clinics now attract more top talent to them. And so the strategy with this is to make your website the recruitment hub. So this time you can bring prospects to your website versus them going off to a third party like Indeed, right? Where you're competing with everybody else and it's all just text, right? Let's bring them back to our website where they can really engage and learn about our practice. And so we can make our website the center of our recruiting efforts. And here's the thing is that people do not leverage Google Jobs. And so what we're able to do now is actually help rank in Google Jobs to organically attract new candidates searching for jobs. And this allows us to outrank Indeed, LinkedIn, ZipRecruiter on Google Jobs, and it also saves us money because we don't have to advertise as hard on those platforms like we used to. I'll show you about how that looks here in a second. And then we can then supercharge that, how we're showing up with Google Job ads, because with Google Jobs, the ads campaigns, we can have specific ads for specific jobs that we want to fill within our clinic, and we can put them wherever we want, right? So we put them in front of people in front of a university, or we put them in this other town, or maybe I'm in Alaska and I got to poach people from Phoenix. There's all kinds of things that you can do with Google Job ads. That's what we help clinics do. So let's take a look at this. All right, so here's an example. Let's let's say I live near Maynard, Mass, right? And the way Google Jobs works is that whenever you type in a search that has jobs or careers in the search, it's going to flip it from what the normal search is, where you'll see like a map section and everything. It flips it into Google Jobs, which is everything about careers and jobs. And so I typed in physical therapy jobs, Maynard, Mass, right? And so when I'm a PT in that area and I'm looking, guess what? First thing I see is this clinic here that has their Google ad, right? And it's showing up for me like, huh, that's interesting, right? Now I come down here, this job section actually replaces the map section again when it comes to Google Jobs posting. And what's really cool here is that we can see that this clinic is actually now ranking at the top of Google Jobs, right? From their website. And so I can see Platinum Physical Therapy here, Maynard, Mass, and this is posted directly from their website. If I look at these other ones here, they're posted from Bright Step Jobs, Bright Step Jobs. They might be ZipRecruiter, might be Indeed, might be LinkedIn. They're all going to post up here. And this is where these boards actually get traffic from. So guess what? Now we're able to outcompete Indeed, ZipRecruiter, all these kind of things. And when I click on here, it's going to pull up the job description from that page. And then I can go apply directly on that website. And boom, it takes me right into the job post specific for that website, which is really, really cool. So again, now we're bringing people through to our website. They're going to learn on our careers page what it's like to be with us, what it's like to work with us. And this is where we can really show the culture. We can talk about our principles. We get to excite people here. If they go to Indeed, it's pretty boring, right? And you're competing with everybody else in their job post. So what you're going to find is that people that come through here are going to have much more excitement. They're going to be much more qualified to come work for you and apply. And what we'll do here is we put those job postings, the job posting center within your website. So this is a pretty cool brand new feature here, but it's working very well. And now we've really taken how we can market to hire new people in our practice. Now, let's talk about our market to profit strategy here. So what can you do in 2025 to bring in more revenue into your practice and more profitability? And one of the first things is to actually attract higher paying patients. We all know that, there's a variance of different insurances out there, and some of our patients have great insurances that we love to accept. And unfortunately, some of our patients have, uh, insurance that does not pay that well. And we actually lose money sometimes on them. So we want to attract more of those patients that have better insurances, and even patients that want to pay a little bit more for cash added services out of pocket. So we got to market for that, right? We got to attract them though. And then as I just was showing you earlier, how can we save money by lowering our customer acquisition costs? And so if we focus on increasing conversions, that's going to help lower our cost per acquisition. And an industry standard for conversion is about $75 per patient. Again, I was showing that we're, under 35. And here's a key thing here too is marketing clarity, right? So you need to have great data. You need to be able to track how patients come in from different marketing sources so you can strengthen those successful actions, what's working, and eliminate wasteful ones. And so this is a big pain point that we find with practice owners is that they just don't really know what is working in their marketing, right? And they have a lot of confusion around this, but they really don't have the right tracking systems in place for that. So you want to be able to understand where patients come from. And the biggest issue is that marketing confusion, right? Not knowing what works. So you have to be able to track prospects all the way from online through to an eval in the clinic. What you really need is a patient lead CRM, right? Which tells you how people came to you from what advertising means. They did a call, for example, where they actually identified as a new patient. Did they actually get on the books? And that's a patient lead CRM. So you need to be able to level up your tracking and marketing systems to give you that clarity in marketing. And that's going to allow you to make better decisions for your practice growth in 2025. So when it comes to tracking leads, you got to realize that about 60% of patients typically call in the clinic. So you need a good call tracking system. And you also need to track how that prospect behaved and got to you. So did they click on Google? Did they go to your website, to social media, all these different channels that people are coming in from. We need to be able to see their path into the clinic. And so by leveling up your marketing tracking systems, this is going to give you valuable data to make the right business decisions in your practice. If you knew that you had predictable numbers of new patients coming in, you would know when you need to hire next. You would feel comfortable about opening that next location because you've got predictability, you've got clarity here in what's working in your marketing. So thinking about leveling up your marketing systems in 2025, the Ultimate Practice Marketing System helps you implement the Market2Grow, Hire, and Profit strategies in your practice. And this is an advanced and comprehensive marketing solution to get you where your practice wants to go in 2025 and beyond. And you will be able to take your marketing systems and results to new heights with the Ultimate Practice Marketing System. So here's what 25 can hold for you. You can have more confidence in getting the new patients to build your practice. You can have clarity in what's working in your marketing. You can be lowering your customer acquisition costs substantially. You can have more patient retention, referrals, and reactivations. And you can be able to attract more clinicians, front desk staff, more staff in an ultra competitive marketplace to work for your growing business. But here's the thing, time equals money. And so what you do now does impact your future. And you have to realize that marketing is not instantaneous. It has a ramp up time. People have to engage with you and you have to be repetitively marketed to. And so if you leave it too late in the year, if you're like, oh, I'll get to this in the second quarter, you've already lost a quarter and then it's going to take some time to ramp up. And it's probably summer by the time things are starting to move for you. So if you want to get to your goals as best as you can for 2025, you need to start soon, right? And you should be planning and acting now to get enough traction at the beginning of 2025 to have that substantial impact through the rest of the year. And so here's the thing, if you don't work to level up your marketing systems and processes now, what's next year going to look like? Is it going to be more of the same, right? The same kind of struggles? You don't have to do that. If you've got a lot of challenges within the clinic, marketing doesn't need to be one of them. And what I find is that practice owner burnout happens when you keep doing the same thing without better results and you don't have confidence in knowing what works. You feel at the mercy of the competition, the system, or the economy. You can't do anything with your practice and you feel like you might lose your staff or don't know how you can replace them if needed. And you're kind of at the mercy of that, right? But I want to invite you to change. Let us help you build out that winning marketing strategy for 2025. And all you have to do is schedule a marketing strategy call with our account exec experts. And very simply, all you got to do is go to practicepromotions.net. You can just click right on the claim strategy call button now, and you'll be able to book a 45-minute strategy call with our team, and they're going to help you understand a lot of great things. So on that call, you're going to discover what those top 10% of successful PT multidisciplinary clinics are doing to level up their marketing. Also, what is working and not working with your current marketing? So be able to help analyze that. You're going to learn about our Ultimate Practice Marketing System and all the components to it. And you're going to discover the best practices to make life easier when it comes to marketing. Here's just some examples. This is Kaizen PT here. Been with us for many years. You can see the growth of new patients in their practice, pretty much over doubling, 2.5% there, 2.5 times. This is Pro Clinics. You can see the growth of their new patients over the years, right? Substantially, like quadrupled their number of new patients. This is Pro Taylor PT. You can see the growth of their patient visits here. So when you have the right marketing systems in place, you can have substantial year-over-year growth in your practice, and you can hit those goals, those objectives that you want for your practice when you have confidence knowing that you've got great marketing, bringing the people in and bringing the talent in. And one thing that we offer, which a lot of places don't, is that we actually guarantee our results. But here's the thing, is that we're not for everyone. And that's fine, right? You have to really qualify to work with us because we really focus on working with growth-minded practice owners that really want to expand their clinic to multiple 7 or even 8 figures. If you're a small clinic and you're just happy, being a 1 or 2 provider clinic, and that's fine, that's fantastic. But if you're a clinic that really wants to grow, then we can really help you. So here's the next steps if you want to check us out, and that is to really schedule a strategy call and update your 2025 marketing plan. We can work with you on that. And then after that, you'll get a demo of our Ultimate Practice Marketing System, really get into like all the systems and how they work and what you can expect. I just give you a broad overview here today, but you get a deep dive into how that all works and understand too our plans and pricing there. So just to recap what we went over here today for your marketing plan for 2025, the goal here is really to be more discoverable online to qualified patients. How can you get more patient scheduling online through your website and improve your conversion rate? How can you build your marketing systems to lower your customer acquisition cost? How can you increase the lifetime value of each patient with patient marketing to improve patient retention, referrals, and reactivations? And how can you leverage your website and Google Jobs to attract more PTs, front desk, billing staff, and more staff in this ultra competitive marketplace? And how can you level up your marketing tracking for greater clarity and decision making? So don't forget, you can tie into this Market2Grow strategy here and really help level up your marketing for 2025. I just want to thank you again for taking the time to be with me here today. I know that your time is valuable. I hope that this webinar here was valuable for you. Our purpose here at Practice Promotions and our passion is really to help practice owners level up their marketing so that they can succeed in improving more people's lives. That is what we live for. That's what excites us. That's what gets us up in the morning when we see our clients having awesome success and achieving goals that they never thought possible. That's really what drives us. So again, don't forget to schedule a strategy call and update your 2025 marketing plan. Thank you again for being on the webinar. And Neil Trickett here from Practice Promotions, and I'm wishing you much success here in 2025.